What's up, everybody? It's Julius D. Bear with Majestic Studios, and I'm back today with another one of our Polybrute 12 for Dummies videos. We talked about the VCOs and the oscillators and how we produce sound with this keyboard in our last video. And today we're going to continue a little bit this direction as it relates to the filters and how they react and respond to the keyboard. So let's get ready to go. All right, so what's a filter, you may ask? Okay, we're gonna approach this from a non-musician or non-musical standpoint. So a filter in our everyday life is something that you might put something into, and everything that goes in it doesn't come out. It filters it. It allows certain things that you want to come out of it and other things that you don't want to come out to have to stay inside. Almost the same thing like a strainer. When you run water through it or put something inside of a strainer in your sink, you run the water comes through and comes out the other side, but whatever you put in the strainer, it stays inside. So that's kind of the same thing with a filter. The audio from the VCO goes into the mixer, and then from the mixer, it's output to the filter. All right, so what a filter does though is we are filtering out different frequencies as it relates to, I guess, like the EQ spectrum. There's a visual that I'm going to show you guys that kind of helps it make sense. So whenever you hear somebody say sweep a filter, all they're doing is they're turning the cutoff knob from low to high or somewhere in between that. And our filters here that we have on this keyboard, both of them have a cutoff knob, and you're going to pretty much see that in every filter. The cutoff knob is going to determine what's going to come out of the filter. All right, and so before we give an example, I'm just going to let you guys see this. We have two filters on the Polybrute 12. We have the Steiner filter, which is this section here with the burgundy knobs, and then we have the ladder filter right here that with the hunter green knobs. And then we also have a master cutoff knob that's going to control the overall cutoff frequency of the filters combined. All right, and you're able to send from your mixer, you're able to send the VCO on your two mixers that you have, 1, 2, and then also your noise generator. You're able to send that signal to the Steiner filter, and if you want to send it to the Steiner filter, you're going to push this button and make sure that the Steiner button is lit up right here. If you want to send it to the ladder filter, we're going to push the button again, and now it's going to go to the ladder filter. And if you want it to go through both filters at the same time, you're going to push the button again. It's going to have both lights lit up at the same time. And then of course, if you push it again, it's going to turn it off, and it's not sending this VCO, this mixer is not being sent to either of the filters at all. And I kind of wonder, is that the way that if you want to turn a voice off within this keyboard, you just don't have it go to a filter at all? And when I say voice, I'm talking about the polyphony for this keyboard. We've got 12 voices. That's what Polybrute 12 stands for. That's 12 simultaneous notes to generate sound at any one time. All right, so maybe that's the way to do that. I haven't seen anything about that in the manual just yet, but maybe it'll come up later. So for now, that's kind of what I do if I want to save polyphony, for lack of a better term. But right now we're going to send our signal straight to the Steiner, and we're going to initialize our patch like we talked about before. Let's see, hold this and then press preset. All right, so we've got a initialized sound here, and we're going to go to our saw wave. We're going to make sure that we have no signal coming from VCO2 or the noise generator. So we're going to turn this one off as well, just so you guys can see we have no sound being generated now. And we're going to turn on the mixer for VCO1 and send it to the Steiner filter. And we're going to have a sawtooth wave that we're going to generate. All right, so if you guys listen closely, I'm going to sweep this filter, which means I'm going to turn this cutoff knob from left to right. And you guys, I want you guys to listen to what happens to the sound as I sweep the filter. So right now, that bright sound that you're hearing, that probably indicates that the filter is almost all the way open, or it is all the way open. Generally speaking, when a filter on a keyboard is open, you're gonna have a brighter sound. Generally speaking, you're gonna have a brighter sound, and when the filter is closed, you're gonna have a darker sound. So let's listen. Bright sound, and you hear how it's dark. Okay, so if you look at the screen, I have a EQ that I pulled up from one of the pieces of gear that I have here. This is from the X-Edit from the Behringer series. It just has a visual EQ that you can use. So I'm running the audio, not the audio that you're hearing, but just the audio that you're seeing on this visual EQ. It's running into that X-Edit app, and we're able to see what's happening to the EQ as we sweep the cutoff. So we're gonna start low, and you see it's on the lower end of the spectrum. And it's not even on the all the way at the low. And it's not all the way at the very end of the frequency spectrum. And we all know that the frequencies that we're hearing, their pitches. So depending on how high or low you are on the keyboard is where those frequencies most likely are gonna pop up. So we're right here in the center, and we're gonna look at what happens to our EQ as we sweep the filter. So it's in the middle, it's coming up, but as the farther we go to the right, we start to hear tones that are higher up on the frequency spectrum. So you see, when we were in the middle of the keyboard, we were down here on the, you see it's further to the left on the frequency spectrum, and the higher notes are further up to the right on the frequency spectrum for higher frequencies. And then of course, if we go lower, even lower, and we can sweep the filter just the same from low to high, and then back down. And then we can do the same thing in the middle from low to high and then back down. And then the same thing in the higher frequencies from low to high and then back down. All right, so the next thing that I want to talk to you guys about that is going to be a major part of your filter is your low pass, your high pass, and your band pass, okay? So what the low pass is going to do is it's going to make a cutoff, and it's going to allow the lows to pass through, and then everything above that cutoff frequency, which you're going to set here, is going to be filtered out as it moves to the right. All right, so it's going to allow the lows to pass, and then the high frequencies are going to be filtered out. The high pass filter is going to do the opposite. It's going to create a cutoff point where it's going to allow the highs to pass through, and then the lows will be filtered out the further it goes to the lower end of the frequencies. All right, those are the two most common type of filters that you're going to have, that you're going to see in a keyboard or with a filter. Is going to be your low pass and your high pass. But the Polybrute also has another one called band pass. And what band pass does is band pass allows a center frequency to pass through, and then all of the frequencies outside of that frequency, as it moves further away from it, those frequencies are filtered out. And we also have one more on this keyboard that's not listed, but if you put the filter knob between band pass and high pass, it creates a notch filter. And what a notch filter does is it's the opposite of what band pass. What a notch filter is going to do is the opposite. It's going to pull out the middle frequency. It's going to allow the frequencies on the outsides of that frequency to pass through. So you guys can create lots of different sounds depending on which filter type you're going to use. This is what the low pass filter sounds like. Okay, I'm going to have it set on low pass, and I'm going to sweep the filter like we did a second ago. Okay, now I'm going to put it on high pass, and I'm going to sweep the filter. All right, so you see those lower frequencies aren't there anymore like they were with the low pass. This is a high pass sweep. This is a low pass sweep. And this is a band pass sweep. And then the notch filter. All right, and if you ever forget what those types of filters do, you have a visual representation on your screen right here. So this is what the low pass looks like. You see it doesn't sit on the screen, so I'm gonna have to keep moving it so it stays there. But what it does is it's shaped a certain way, and it's showing you that it's allowing the lows are able to pass through, and everything else is being filtered out as it moves to the right. With the high pass filter, it's the opposite. It's going to allow the cutoff frequency is going to be at a certain point. It's going to allow the highs to pass through and the lows can't. Band pass looks like it's letting the middle frequencies through and the outsides are not. And then the notch filter is the opposite. Okay, it's going to allow that middle frequency to be kind of filtered out, and then the frequencies on the outside are going to be accentuated or going to be able to pass through. All right, so the last thing that we're going to talk about today in this video is going to be the resonance. Okay, so what resonance does, and if you look at this picture right here, I'm going to go back to the low pass filter and I'm going to show you guys what the resonance does. What the resonance does is it allows a boost at the cutoff frequency. So whatever you have your cutoff frequency set at, it's going to put a boost there and make that frequency poke out more than the rest of them. All right, so if you look at this, I'm going to go to cutoff frequency. We're going to go to our low pass. We're going to change the cutoff frequency. So we're moving it up and down the frequency spectrum, and you can see the frequency that the cutoff is set at. It moves as you change the parameter. It moves on your screen here. You can see that. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys what this resonance knob looks like. And as you move it around, it's going to boost that frequency that the cutoff is set at. That resonance is going to be formed by the boost in that frequency. So let's listen to what it sounds like. Here's the low pass. The low pass sweep that we've done a few times already, but listen to what happens when we boost that frequency that the cutoff is at. All right, so right now the boost is happening at 10 hertz. Oh, sorry, 16 hertz. Okay, and you hear that extra low rumble there. Okay, you hear that extra low rumble. All right, it wasn't there before. You may have to put headphones on if you're not listening to headphones right now. But that extra low rumble is there. All right. And what's going to happen is it's boosted at that 16 hertz frequency. And that's why you're hearing that extra low end. So let's sweep that filter now. And you see, as we move up, the frequency that's being boosted, you can hear it more and more. All right, so listen. Now, if I turn that resonance down, that frequency there doesn't stick out as much. So that's how people make those sounds that you guys have probably heard for years. All right, sounds like aliens are coming. All right, so let's go to the high pass filter, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to turn the resonance down. Sorry, we're going to turn the resonance all the way up, and we're going to sweep the filter. So using the resonance, the cutoff frequency, and the type of filter you use is going to be a foundational element for the type of sounds that you can create using your keyboard, your synthesizer, or in this case, the Polybrute 12. All right, so I'm gonna let you guys chew on that for a few days. I want you to get into your keyboards. I want you to play with your VCOs. I want you to form the different waveforms that we've talked about. I want you guys to send them to your mixers, and I want you to output that to your filters. And I want you to play with the filters and see what kind of sounds you can create. And let's continue down this journey a little bit more in the next couple of days, okay? And in the next video, we're going to talk a little bit more about what some of the rest of these parameters within the filter do. And we're going to talk about what happens when we combine the filters, and then what happens when we use our master cutoff knob to manipulate both filters together at the same time. Okay, guys, I'll see you guys again soon. Thanks.